No. Okay.
Why can I not find the chat box? This one?
Click on it.
It's not coming up.
Yeah, click on it. Come on.
Oh, okay.
Mm.
Okay.
We're smooth. 98.1 FM. It's gone 29 minutes before the top of the hour, 8 o'clock, and it's time to get into the papers. It is time for Freshly Pressed with Omas and Zibby.
And the analysts are in. We're looking at the news stories making the headlines this morning. Mr. C, good morning.
Good morning, Zibby. Good morning, Mass. Good morning, Lagos. Rest of the world.
And of course, we have AB Bozimo as well. Good morning, AB, and welcome.
Good morning to all of you in the studio, and good morning to all of the wonderful listeners. Great to be here.
And once again, our prayers and thoughts with you this trying time as you laid your mom to rest over the weekend. Accept our condolences once again.
Thank you so much. It's been a blessing to see how much love and support we've got. We really, as a family, appreciate it.
And so let's dig into the paper. Mr. C, do us the honors of getting us to this newspaper stand. The Nation newspaper is where we kick off from this morning, where it is said that the Lagos State Police set up tactical units to combat kidnapping. And that's what it is saying. So you might say in the recent past, Lagos hasn't been in the news, but we might say Abuja, Kano. Is this a case of taking dressing from what you see on the other side?
Okay, thank you, Mass. So Lagos State has always been unique when it comes to matters of security. So I think they were one of the first states to set up a special police unit, and in Lagos State it's called the Rapid Response Squad. They also have the Security Trust Fund, which receives donations from corporate Nigeria and private individuals. Now, having said that, they've set up three tactical units. And what are they trying to address? They're trying to address kidnapping, cultism, armed robbery, and other armed violence within the state. Now, the question listeners will be asking this morning is, where have these tactical units been deployed? Well, it would appear from the statement, press statement, that they've been deployed to the mainland, specifically areas like Ikorodu, Ekpe, Ojo, Ijani King, Badagry, and Mushin. Now, these areas all have something in common, or they all have a common thread. They're areas where you find repeated accounts of inter-gang violence, where innocent shop owners, innocent individuals attacked. Some have lost their lives, some have been badly injured. And the Lagos state government is trying to nip this in the bud and bring the menace or prevalence of this sort of violence to the barest minimum. The question will then be asked, why haven't these units been deployed to the island? And the island, by the island I mean Ikoyi, Victoria Island, and what some people now extend to Lekki, Ajah, Agungi, and the likes. Well, we'll all admit that the level of violence on the mainland is on a different quantum, or different degree, or different extent, as opposed to that of the island. But if they feel the need to deploy these units to the island, they will do that. Now, what is this supposed to achieve? It's supposed to restore law and order and confidence in the Nigeria Police Force ability to protect lives and property. Now, incidentally, they've arrested a few people since they were deployed, and it seems they will continue to carry out their operations and their activities in a bid to ensure that the criminal elements in these areas and beyond get the message that criminality will no longer be tolerated. So let's continue to watch and see whether they will stick to their rules of engagement, and we won't start hearing accounts of abuse of powers and harassment of citizens.
All right, thank you for that, Mr. C. Let us know your thoughts. The WhatsApp number is 0809 4440981. You can also tweet at Smooth981. And we're streaming live on YouTube as well, so you can find the live stream at Smooth981. We're going on to the next headline, and this one comes from Punch. Developing countries need equal market access. Now, the president who was represented by the Minister of Budget and Economic Planning, Abubakar Bagudu, spoke at the 19th Summit of Heads of State and Governments in Kampala, Uganda. Representing the president, he said the developing world is not looking for sympathy, but they're just looking for fair and equal opportunities. AB?
This trip is an example of what not to do when you're in a hole already. You say you want equal market access. What value do you bring to the market? Why should anybody listen to you as a country when they know from their records that they maintain that the elites in all of these loser countries have their wealth stashed away in the West? So the Minister of Budget and Economic Planning, Bagudu, junkets to Kampala and goes there and says they're not looking for sympathy or begging. What are they doing actually? We need access. Have you ever seen a person who is about what they're doing? Do they need to tell anybody? Don't they just get stuff done? They're going this, we need financing. From who? Who is going to give you financing? If you look at it the other way, our president is on record as saying in certain things, you take it, grab it, and run with it. How about you just grab the financing, you create the conditions that work for you, and let the rest of the world follow you? Excuse me, if I were in the West, all y'all are getting nothing, nada, zit, zilch, because it serves me to keep you where you are. You have to determine that you want to get out of it, and you have to create the context in your country where you are adding value to the market. Part of this story and another story coming up is how we're talking about, oh, everybody else has low interest rates and so on. Well, again, they know that your wealth is secreted away in their vaults. So honestly, as a leader from any of these South loser countries, you people are just coming to come and dance to the market. But after this, you probably branch from Kampala to London before you come back under one condition or the other. I'm sorry, you are going there to beg and look for sympathy. If you're about it, be about it. If not, keep quiet and come back home from Kampala and make your country good. At that point, nobody will need to talk to you. You will be the one creating the value in the market, and the world will follow you. I'm sorry. They went to Kampala to beg, in my opinion.
Mr. C, you want to add something to that?
Yes, I agree completely with everything AB has said. And the truth of the matter is, I'm going to give a very concrete example. Take China in the 80s. Nobody really took China that seriously. But China developed its economy, developed its economic might to the point that if China speaks today, everyone listens. You may not agree with the position they bring up, but you will not discard it. Now, second point, very quickly, what is the benefit of all these conferences Nigeria has been attending left, right, and center? How do they benefit the ordinary man in Potiskum? How do they benefit the ordinary man in Jukum? How do they benefit the ordinary man in Aba or Oshodi? Because we seem to go there to make the numbers, to make up the numbers. We say we're going there to present positions. Nobody is taking Nigeria seriously. And it doesn't help us when we have leaders going to conferences and dancing. I'm sorry. Yes, your vice president.
Who's been dancing lately?
Your vice president danced he was at Davos dancing. And I'm sorry.
The DG of the World Trade Organization also danced along with him, though.
No, she is a she's in a sense a diplomat. You are going for a serious World Economic Forum and you are dancing. Not that your economy is great or you have anything under control. You are dancing. Now we've gone to this non-aligned movement summit. What did we benefit from attending?
What that would have been more aligning ideas and way forward in itself.
What ideas?
Fellow losers.
These guys have been in office for 8 months. What ideas are we talking about? If somebody has been in the kitchen for 3 hours, you should have a sense of what is coming out. You should perceive what is coming out. If you don't perceive anything that is coming out from the kitchen, there's a problem.
Mr. C.
And Zibby can attest to that.
Mr. C, let's go over to the Vanguard newspaper now, waiting for you. And this one is talking about security now, more like you can also align this to that earlier security issue you mentioned relating to Lagos, but this is on a national level. Prioritize welfare of ex-servicemen, retired generals, urge the federal government.
Thank you, Mas. Now, I will start this way. A lot of money is put into the training of every single member of the Nigerian Armed Forces in terms of physical training, in terms of specialized training. And some of these officers go on courses outside the country to be trained. We cannot begin to quantify the level of investment in any of these guys. Then all of a sudden they retire and we seem to forget them, forgetting that they've been highly trained. More often than not, we then hear instances of insurgents, non-state actors being trained by some of these ex-guys. Now, these ex-servicemen, both commissioned and non-commissioned officers, when their backs are against the wall and they have to survive, and it's insurgents or non-state actors with criminal motives offering them a means of livelihood, why do we expect them not to accept it? So this is the clarion call. There must be areas wherein they can still be deployed to contribute their wealth of experience and proffer solutions on the myriad of security issues pervading the land. Some of these guys can serve as security advisors to state governments, even to local governments, even to specialized bodies. But our approach here seems to be, once you're out of the system, that's it, goodbye, forget about it. That shouldn't be the case. Contrast that with other countries where they pour in resources and they're keen and determined to know what these people are up to, even outside service.
In itself, Mr. C, what if I get to rephrase it, it will look more like saying these ex-generals are too loaded, like a loaded gun to be left lying around for anybody to just come play with. They should be treasured and kept, and we should know what they're doing at every point in time.
Correct. We should know what they're doing and we should seek to harness their skills. If we do not harness their skills, ultimately and collectively, we will be the losers.
All right. Thank you for that, Mr. C. Let's go on to some of the messages. Don't forget the WhatsApp number is 0809 444 0981. Emeka says police tactical units again. Unnecessary because they will end up doing stop and search, intimidating, and collecting money to compensate themselves. It's another job for the boys. Ibukun says, I don't get this anti-kidnapping squad news because we have had it in Lagos as far back as 2017 when the Commissioner of Police of Lagos State suspended the OC of the units. We just like to waste time rebranding and announcing. Same goes for the anti-robbery and anti-cultism squads. Aderemi says the despondency. Oh, wow. Aderemi, be nice. It's 7:43 in the morning. Come on.
It comes on the juggler this morning of
Oh, wow.
and AB their positions anyway.
All right, let's go on to the next headline. And this one is still from Kampala. Maybe this one is for you. The president has advocated a review of global taxation, explaining that redressing the imbalance in the international tax regime has become imperative.
I'm imagining that that imbalance didn't start in a day, didn't start in a year, didn't start in a decade. There must have been trends that led to this imbalance. Again, I ask, what is the leadership of this group of loser nations doing that would convince an outsider that they are serious in their country? The global tax system review, we should do it. Yes, at this junket in Kampala, we are going and delivering papers left, right, and center. To who? Who is listening? Honestly, when all of you people put together are not, your budget of all your countries together is not the budget of the train system in New York. Who cares about what you all are saying? Again, just like Mr. C said, stay at home, get busy, empower your nation, move education to the priority and not politics. And in X number of years, maybe 2, 3 decades, maybe long after you're gone, you will have bequeathed a nation or nations that actually can take a position on the world stage and speak and be listened to and be influential. As part of this story, they said, oh, they aligned themselves with what is going on, looking for peace in Gaza and all that. I even align with it. But just like me, nobody listens to me. Nobody listens to Nigeria. We are not sending soldiers there. We can't help with the arms race. We can't do anything. So honestly, my point about this junket is that they should have sat at home, they should have reviewed the priorities in the national budget and stopped making politics the only business in town. This should go on for 2 to 3 to 4 terms, and we can now look forward, like in a kitchen, analogy. If we see that change, we can start looking forward to something better to be expected. So honestly, the details of this global tax regime, in my view, are neither here nor there, because the people talking about it are not worthy of being listened to.
Well, Mr. C dragged us into the kitchen this morning, and AB2 is heading to the kitchen also. Mr. C, you have something to close up?
It's striking that the person who represented the president at this summit is someone who's been indicted for money laundering. Who's going to take us seriously? You head to an international summit and you are represented by someone who's been indicted for money laundering.
It is still freshly pressed on Smooth 98.1 FM. More stories after now.
Oh, yeah.
We keep dropping. So there's very little to praise this morning. I'm sorry.
But
C,
now
Mr.
you have
C,
a guest
please.
who, one of our
Mr.
listeners
C,
had said,
please talk into the microphone.
say?
Mr. C should please talk into the microphone so I can
Okay,
hear,
okay,
and
okay.
maybe listeners. No problem.
One of the guys said, listeners.
One of the listeners is cussing me out. That's okay. I'm used to it. I'm a big boy. I can take it.
Video. Smooth 98.1 FM. We're back. It's still freshly pressed, still picking up the newspapers this morning. We expect to get your thoughts across 20809-444-0981 this morning as we see messages piling up already. Mr. C, let's go over to the Nation newspaper if you let us do that now. As Lagos State government, Lagos bans use of styrofoam, aka single-use plastic takeaways at party for the nuisance it's become in the drains.
Thank you, Omas. Now, this is why Nigeria is truly the theater of the absurd. You did not just discover that single-use plastics are constituting an environmental menace. You've always known this. I've known this as far back as I was in primary school. And I'm talking almost more than 40 years ago. Then you wake up overnight and you place an immediate ban. The single-use plastics are serving a purpose. We find them in bukas, we find them at parties, and what do they put in them? They put in them food. Now you say that they're constituting an environmental menace. That is correct. Now that you immediately ban them, which I'm not sure how effective that ban will be, I'll come to that later. What is the replacement? Why didn't you phase it out over a period of time? Why didn't you give heads up notice? Now that you've banned it, what are the options for the local food seller? What are the options at parties? You're going to go for parties, you're going to go for maybe proper glass plates or ceramic plates. And then for your local food seller, if you can't use styrofoams, she's probably going to sell everything in a nylon bag, a polythene bag. How does that help the environmental goals and progress Lagos State government is intending to achieve? I'm sure and I'm confident that this was a knee-jerk reaction. More time should have been given to educate people on the proposed alternatives. As it is, there are no alternatives, and even the alternatives are a lot more expensive. Now, in the short term, do we have sufficient numbers of the alternatives so that this ban will truly be effective? Now, the ban was announced over the weekend. If anyone is seen selling styrofoam today, are you going to arrest the person? Are you going to seize the goods? What exactly is going to happen? And how do you expect the local food seller to cope with this sort of ban? The economy isn't smiling. People are really struggling. People are really constricted from the tightening of the belts as advised by the president. Now there must be some sort of compassion. There must be some sort of mid to long-term planning from the part of government. Everything cannot just be an immediate that. No. How do other societies, how do other cities, global cities do it? Because they pride themselves here on the fact that Lagos is a global city. How they arrive at that conclusion, I'm not sure. But if you want to compare yourself to global cities, act like global cities.
CAB wants to throw in
Okay.
something in that.
You see, this knee-jerk reaction doesn't tell well of Lagos State government. And Lagos State government has had quite a few policies that I feel have been positive in recent times. I just feel this was a prime opportunity for that thing called recycling and the opportunity for sorting, because every 2-year-old child abroad knows you put bottles into this, you put cans into this, you put paper into this. This could have happened over the course of between 6 months and 1 year, so that the whole population is moved towards anything. And you also have to have the alternatives in place. You don't just wake up and ban. There are people with stacks of those in warehouses right now, both for sale and for use. Enter any typical eatery right now. That is what they have. What are they supposed to do this morning? And if somebody comes from another state with a single-use plastic, will they be stopped at the border of Lagos State and searched? Will they be picking palm out of my bowl and telling me that I must hold it in my hand to come to Lagos? I'm being facetious, but the point is you don't just jump on a policy in this way without thinking it through.
All right, let's go on to some of the messages that we have coming through. Osagie says a serious government will sit down and fix the economy, not moving around the world like scalar quantities. Will Nigeria ever learn? So he means they have magnitude, but no direction. Oluwaseyi says the government says they're looking for fairness. Have they asked the hoops? Exporters have to jump the palms they have to grease to get their products and produce on a ship. When the government is ready, they know what to do to get our economy going. Until then, they can keep making a mockery of themselves, traveling around the world and spending and stealing the country's scarce resources. And that's Oluwaseun. Ibukun says, AB, focus on education care. When Amechi has told us not to jackbar, because Nigeria is a place where you can just wake up and become a minister or get a political appointment. JP says, ban. Higher taxes should have been in effect since. Now we should enable production of paper plates or takeout boxes. Styrofoam needs to go, but let's always think. Sahid says, Mr. C, there are boxes that can be used. And what did we use before the foam? Leaves, plates, etc. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Next headline comes from Punch. The Association of Community Pharmacists of Nigeria is urging the president to take urgent action to address the regulation of drug prescription and dispensing. AB?
You know, I saw this headline and I really wonder, does President Bola Ahmed Tinubu have anything to do with drugs and dispensing? Why are they talking to the president? They are an association. They presumably have the knowledge and the expertise to do everything to do with drugs. Or is there something that we're not aware of? For goodness sake, they are saying or accusing or alleging that doctors are dispensing drugs. I don't know about you, but in every hospital I've gone, doctors are simply too busy to get themselves involved with giving me take 2 in the morning, take 2 in the afternoon. They listen to me, they take a view of my symptoms, whatever, they come up with a treatment plan, and then they send me to the pharmacy. Those pharmacies in those hospitals are normally manned by trained pharmacists. So I truly don't understand if they're talking about, what they call patent medicine shops that may not be regulated. I could maybe even understand that they want something done there. But for them to be focusing on doctors, are they sure they know who the target is? Doctors are out there saving lives. For goodness sake, if I were a doctor, if I had the smart to be a doctor, I really wouldn't bother with dispensing pills, popping pills left and right. They had so many complaints about doctors, these doctors, that I think they are missing the point. And the first place they missed it is asking President Tinubu to do it. They're an organization. As an architect, we as Nigerian Institute of Architects, we take on our problems. We don't go and tell Tinubu, who is very busy sending ministers to Kampala to come and take care of drawings. He doesn't draw. He doesn't, Tinubu doesn't dispense drugs either. So I just feel they missed it on this one. Is it necessary, indeed, as they have said, to control how medicines are dispensed and all that? Absolutely. But they are the people who have the requisite expertise to do it, not President Tinubu. NAFDAC, etc. should be involved, not President Tinubu. That's all I'm saying. They were going all over the place, in my view, firing blanks left and right, and they missed the point. They are in charge. They pick up a mirror, look in it, see the solution there, and effect it.
We'll find messages already popping in already now. Swandy's message. Okay, it goes on. It says off the head. It says the Nigerian politician could tell you the size and diameter of underground safe that could contain $2 trillion US. Ask him what it will take to eradicate poverty. He replies that only God knows. Tony from Ikeja leaves us with that message this morning. And then Josh's message here says, Mr. C, who will listen to someone who has been indicted for, goes on blank. And then how about the other people who have not been indicted? Then how about the presidents whose election seemed fair and credible and fair? Has anyone listened to them? Indictment is not the same as conviction. Only us Nigerians, African, can build our country.
All right, and I've got a message from Michael. Michael says, Mr. C spot on in his analysis of the single-use styrofoam. The government should have given notice to importers and distributors of the product so they would not record unnecessary losses. A phased ban is a more humane approach. Let's always consider the economic impact of these decisions on the people. AB Ambo says, it's sad that we're not blessed with the right thinking leadership from federal, states, down to local governments. People go into government forgetting their thinking caps at home.
All right, if we've got about a minute, Mr. C, help us wrap up the story from the Guardian newspaper, where it tells us the attacks in schools will drastically reduce in 2024. That's the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps. It's an assurance target for the year.
Okay. Thank you, Amas. I read the story and I'm like, here we go again. You lack the capacity, you lack the ability, you lack the desire, and yet you make categorical statements. Attacks on school, mark my words, will not drastically reduce. And I'm going to explain why. The NSCDC, which is the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps, does not have the requisite numbers to adequately protect each and every school that is threatened in Nigeria. However, it's important to note, and this is positive, they've set up a National Safe School Response Coordination Center. And since that center was inaugurated, it has repelled or prevented 48 attacks. Now, they want to adopt non-kinetic measures, and this includes cautioning Nigerians. Now, for the love of everything good on earth, I don't understand what that means. What do you caution Nigerians against? It's so vague, so empty. And the journalists who accepted this didn't ask questions. Then they want to interactively engage with community leaders, members, school children, and teachers so that they can report on suspicious movements. That is fantastic. In an ideal world where everything works properly, the society works together with the law enforcement agencies. However, what they're silent on, what they didn't provide too much details on is, what exactly are they doing themselves? How are they getting intelligence? Do they have informants placed within some of these criminal organizations to give them heads up of when the next attacks will be carried out so that they can prevent them? But we'll wait and see.
Mr. C, in responding to the headlines, probably if they have the information they have already and they're working with it, it seems like if the school attacks on schools dropping, then it means the attacks are happening more at home, as is from the evidence we've seen lately, people being picked up from home. But Ebi, let's get your thoughts quickly on this one as we wrap up.
Very quickly. That's attacks on schools drop, great. So does that mean attacks on markets go up? Does that, as we know, mean that attacks on residences go up? And then they said, if you see something, say something. I see politicians wasting Nigeria's money. I say they should redirect Nigeria resources to developing the people and not the politicians. That is what I see, and that is what I say. And if they would actually do that, attacks of all sorts would drop, not just on school, but everywhere, because people would have a sense of belonging and potential progress. Right now, that is lacking. It's not an excuse for criminality, but it's the contributory factor.
Final point, I'm going to put this 20 seconds. Every time they previously announced that they're on top of things, we get a reminder that they're actually under those things. So watch out in the next 7 days for bad news.
Mr. C, we can't accept that.
On
There
a
is
Monday-
no bad
on
news
a
in
Monday
7 days,
morning.
Mr. C. Let's be
I'm
positive and
I'm
optimistic.
being a realist. These guys,
Or do you have some information?
these guys are jokers. I'm sorry, they're jokers.
It's a wrap this morning, Mr. C. Thanks so much for your time. I want to say thank you for stopping by and for always expressing your views. And then also, Mr. Thank you to AB Bozimo also for your candid opinion this morning.
Thank you. Agree, disagree, hit me up at AB Bozimo on all platforms.
All right, that is it for Freshly Pressed. Thanks for your messages. Do stay with us. There's a lot more to come on the Smooth Breakfast.